Story title is Criminal Minds. In a peaceful little town called Harmonyville, there was a group of friends who loved solving mysteries. Their names were Timmy, Sarah, and Billy. They were just ordinary kids, but their imaginations were extraordinary. One sunny afternoon, as they sat under the big oak tree near the school, Timmy had an exciting idea. He said, "Hey, what if we become detectives and solve mysteries in our town?" Sarah's eyes sparkled with curiosity, and Billy's face lit up with a grin. They all agreed it was a fantastic idea. Their first mystery was about missing cookies from Mrs. Johnson's bakery. The cookies were the talk of the town, and everyone loved them. But for days, there had been whispers about cookies disappearing before they even made it to the shelves. The trio decided to investigate. They went to Mrs. Johnson's bakery, and she greeted them with a warm smile. "Hello, young detectives. What brings you here today?" Timmy, the bravest of the three, said, "We've heard about the missing cookies, Mrs. Johnson. We want to help you find out who's taking them." Mrs. Johnson chuckled and said, "Oh, my dear children, it's not a mystery. It's my mischievous cat, Whiskers. He loves cookies as much as anyone." The kids laughed and were relieved that it wasn't a real mystery after all. They petted Whiskers and enjoyed some delicious cookies from Mrs. Johnson's bakery. Their second mystery came when Mr. Anderson's garden gnome went missing. Mr. Anderson was known for his colorful garden, filled with bright flowers and quirky gnomes. Timmy, Sarah, and Billy took the case seriously this time. They looked for clues around the garden and talked to the neighbors. Soon, they found out that Tommy, Mr. Anderson's nephew, had borrowed the gnome to play with his friends. They returned the gnome to Mr. Anderson, who thanked them for their detective work with a bag of candy. As the days turned into weeks, the trio solved one small mystery after another in their town. From missing pets to lost toys, they were always there to help. They became known as the Harmonyville Detectives. One sunny morning, as they were having breakfast, they heard about something big on the news. A precious painting, Starry Night, had gone missing from Harmonyville's art museum. It was a famous painting by a famous artist. The trio exchanged determined glances. This was their biggest mystery yet. They visited the art museum and talked to the curator, Mrs. Davis. She was worried and said, "This painting is a treasure for our town. We need it back." Timmy, Sarah, and Billy searched the museum for clues. They found a broken window in the back, and muddy footprints on the floor. With their detective skills, they followed the muddy footprints, which led them to a shed behind the museum. Inside, they found the painting, hidden under a tarp. Just as they were about to call the police, they heard a whimper. They looked around and found a scared puppy hiding in the corner. It was clear the puppy had knocked the painting off the wall while playing, then hid out of fear. They returned the painting to Mrs. Davis and found a loving home for the puppy. The town cheered for the young detectives, and their adventures became famous. From that day on, Timmy, Sarah, and Billy knew that solving mysteries brought happiness to their town, Harmonyville. They continued to use their criminal minds to help their friends and neighbors, making Harmonyville the best place to live. As they grew older, their detective skills improved. They received mysterious letters, and their biggest case came when the Harmonyville Library's rarest book, The Enchanted Chronicles, vanished. The trio received a letter that said, "To the Harmonyville Detectives, if you wish to find the missing book, follow the trail of riddles." They accepted the challenge. The first riddle led them to the clock tower in the town square. There, they found an old book of riddles with a second clue inside. For days, they unraveled riddles that took them to the edge of Harmonyville's forest, where they discovered a hidden cave. Inside the cave, they found the missing book. It turned out that the librarian, Ms. Thompson, had hidden it to create an exciting puzzle for the young detectives. She had always admired their dedication to solving mysteries. As a token of gratitude, she let them keep the book and promised to provide more riddles for them to solve. Timmy, Sarah, and Billy grew up to become real detectives, solving mysteries not just in Harmonyville but all over the world. Yet, they always remembered the town where their adventures began. And so, the young detectives learned that even ordinary kids could do extraordinary things when they used their hearts and their heads to solve problems and bring joy to others in their small, peaceful town. As the years passed, Harmonyville grew, and the town's mysteries became legends, thanks to the criminal minds of Timmy, Sarah, and Billy. Their legacy inspired generations of young detectives to follow in their footsteps. The end.